Hey everyone, Doug here with B&H. VR gamers, listen up because today we're looking at the HP Reverb G2. This is a VR headset with enthusiasts in mind. The Reverb G2 brings with it incredibly high-resolution displays and a collaborative design, making it ideal for use with Windows Mixed Reality and Steam VR setups. If you've wanted to get into higher-end VR gaming or upgrade to an even more immersive experience than you already have, the Reverb G2 hits all the right notes with a setup that plugs right into your gaming PC, no additional software required. A clear VR image requires high-resolution displays in each eye. You're essentially right up against the screen, so pixel density matters a lot. Fortunately, resolution is the Reverb G2's defining feature, with some of the highest resolution displays we've ever seen in a VR headset. Each eye features a 2160 by 2160 LCD screen, giving you a total of 4320 by 2160. The 90 Hz refresh rate also keeps motion smooth, which is critical for the VR experience, and I can tell you it makes all the difference here in the Reverb G2. Two motion controllers connect via Bluetooth and are tracked via the Reverb's 4 cameras and internal sensor. They're a little bit smaller this time around as compared to the previous Reverb, so they should be a little easier to hold in smaller hands. All the cabling, which we'll talk about in a moment, is routed to a single port right above the lenses. The Reverb G2 focuses on a premium VR experience, especially in regards to visual quality, so it requires a direct connection to a PC. So let's take a look at this thing. Gamers will recognize that the unit was designed in cooperation with Valve and Microsoft, which is most obvious in both the Windows buttons that are on the controllers and the Valve speakers on the sides, which we'll talk about later. Now, while the Reverb does come with everything you need, even batteries for the controllers, you will need a dedicated gaming PC to get the most out of the unit. There are a few cables to set up, but the unit keeps things tidy by unifying data and power into a single cable that connects right above the eyes. The connector is angled so it's easy to orient it correctly, you won't mess that up, and the cable itself can be held in place by a plastic loop in the back. That cable splits out to DisplayPort, USB-C, and an AC power adapter. When you first put the Reverb on, open up the Velcro straps on the top and the sides, and you'll be able to adjust the fit to your head. There's also an interocular adjustment on the underside of the headset, allowing you to adjust the spacing on the lenses. Once you've got the headset plugged in and ready to go, you simply put it on and jump right in. After plugging in the headset, it turns on automatically, and Windows loads the Windows Mixed Reality setup page. It'll go over your system hardware to make sure you've got everything you need. Good thing I checked. I just had to plug in a Bluetooth adapter, and the setup recognized it instantly. Next, the installer guides you to defining your boundary for a virtual world. You can do seated or standing positions here, so I tried to define as big a boundary as I could. Keep in mind you can reset that. Everything downloads and installs automatically. You don't need to visit any pages or worry about selecting particular drivers. When everything's installed, you can put on the headset where you're immediately brought to what I like to call a VR desktop space. Looking around, you can probably see what I mean. You can freely jump around anywhere in your virtual home and still access Windows applications. The desktop feeling comes from the ability to move and resize windows in space, which is pretty cool. You can bring windows closer to you or rotate them however you see fit. After only a few minutes of use, I can see why it's specifically called Windows Mixed Reality. Now, while I did try out some of the lighter weight applications like HoloTour, which combines 3D VR elements with 360-degree video to give you virtual tours, it's pretty neat. Let's see what VR gaming is like. After all, that's why we're here. First up is Beat Saber. Anyone who's dabbled in VR before is probably familiar with this title, and let's just say I'm glad I put all those years of Dance Dance Revolution experience to work here. As a VR-only game that depends on good timing and tracking, we can really put the motion controllers to the test. Now, an advantage to dedicated PC VR gaming is the ability to combine the VR headset with traditional keyboard and mouse controls. It's a little difficult to do this in practice because your view of the keyboard is obscured, but for gamers who know their keyboard like the back of their hands, it opens up the door to some truly gorgeous games. Let's take a look at Star Wars Squadrons.
All right. Oh, wow. This cockpit is ridiculous. Oh. Oh. No. I'm losing track. How do I maintain balance?
So first off, let me tell you, the displays here really make an enormous difference. Unlike most other VR headsets, the resolution of the Reverb G2 is so high that it's finally challenging to perceive the pixels themselves. Not impossible, but you'd have to try. Now, naturally, with specs like that, you're going to need a fairly powerful gaming PC to get the job done, though VR gaming in general can be pretty demanding, especially if you're playing a AAA game. My computer here is powered by an AMD Ryzen 9 3900X with an NVIDIA GeForce 2070 Super carrying the graphics load, and I had no trouble running any of these games. Rendering resolutions can of course be adjusted if you need, and do remember that even if you render lower, the displays themselves are still 2160 by 2160. Basically, if you've got a similar or better setup, you should be fine, but do make sure your computer is up to the task. What really impressed me actually was the sound quality of the Valve speakers. Resting off the head by about 10 millimeters, it's surprising how directional the audio sounds, and it doesn't feel like it lacks any bottom end the way you might expect given the distance. Ergonomics are impressive as well. I won't lie, at first, the Velcro straps may seem like a lot, but after the initial fitting, taking off and putting the headset back on was actually really easy. It never really loosened for me. The unit stays firmly secured at all times, and because it's only 1.21 pounds, it doesn't weigh you down towards the front. Now on that note, mobility is obviously a huge concern for VR, especially if you intend on using it while standing. And let's be honest, we all want to do that. That said, the cable's generous, actually let me just show you here. The cable's generous 6 meters, or nearly 20-foot length, I cannot show you all of it, gives you plenty of slack to move around and keep a fair distance from the computer. This thing, you can't see even half of it, and it goes all the way to the back of the computer. And as I said before, the Reverb G2 mostly keeps the cabling neat on the headset, though what I would have liked to see is the ability to disconnect the main cable from the breakout box that's near the computer, or a repositioning of the main connector on the headset itself, as it normally requires you to remove the magnetic eye cushion, which isn't the most elegant way to plug in the cable. Now, luckily, I never had any issues with the cable or connection itself. By the way, don't worry if you don't have a USB-C connection on board. The Reverb does come with a USB-C to A adapter as well, along with a DisplayPort to mini DisplayPort adapter. Oh, and the glasses? Not a problem here. There's ample room in the headset thanks to the cushion, so I didn't even have to think about it. So the HP Reverb G2 makes high-end VR gaming more accessible than ever before. More than that though, it really makes the case for VR gaming that leans on the power of a dedicated gaming PC thanks to its high-resolution displays. If you've already had a taste of VR, the G2's sheer resolution will feel like a whole new experience. And if you haven't even tried VR before, well, you're in for a treat. So that's it for the HP Reverb G2. I'm Doug with B&H, and I'll see you next time.